Hi, I'm Cynthia. I help home cooks explore gut-healthy foods like this sourdough bread. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through the 24-hour step-by-step process that I took to make this loaf. And if you don't have access to a starter, don't worry. In the next video, I'll show you exactly how to make your own starter.
All right, so here I'm showing you my starter that I actually keep in the fridge. This starter, I recently fed it, and what that means is adding 1 part water, 1 part flour to my starter and stirring it together and putting it back in the fridge. And so what happens is the wild yeast will feed off of the sugars within the flour. And so just a side note on that, because the sugars are being consumed, what happens is naturally a sourdough bread is going to be lower in sugars, and the protein naturally ends up being higher. That's it for my starter. In the next video, I'll show you how to make one of your own. All right, so this is starter that's been fed as well, with a 1/4 cup of starter from the fridge that I just showed you, right? And then a 1/4 cup of water, and just under a 1/2 cup of flour. And normally you would use the flour that you're going to end up using within your sourdough recipe. Once that's stirred up real well, then you cover it up to keep flies out mostly, and don't seal it up too tight. You want it to be able to have oxygen, and you leave it on top of your fridge. If you live in the north and your winters are cold, put it in a warm spot like on top of your fridge and wait about 2 to 3 hours. Now if it's summertime, that's different. It could take maybe 1 to 2 hours, and you would put it in a dark area, not exposed by sunlight. Okay, so now it's time to assemble the ingredients. So we've got 2 cups of all-purpose flour and 1.5 cups of whole wheat flour, and they're both organic. I've got 1 teaspoon of sea salt, and here's the fed starter, and it amounts to approximately 1 cup. Then add to that 1 cup of warm water, preferably not with any chlorine in it. So tap water if you have access to a well. So I'm just blending everything up here and making sure that the flour is mixed in well. I keep turning the bowl and pressing down, sort of like a kneading, but not being too harsh with it. All right, so now I'm gonna take it out, and I'm gonna go get my olive oil. I'm gonna put about 1 to 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. I just put that in the bowl. And then I'm going to take the dough and put the top side down first, then flip it over. All right, so that's ready for its first rise, and you can wait anywhere between 4 to 24 hours, depending on the humidity and temperature of where you have it. So mine was on top of the fridge for 13 hours, and you can see that it's gotten a little spongy. So I'm going to take the spatula and just pull the edges up towards the center and rotate the bowl. And what that does is it creates tension around the edges of the dough. And it's kneading it slightly, but being gentle. And then, so I'm going to put the dough within the parchment paper, because I want to be able to transfer it easily after it's finished its second rise. I want to put it into a Dutch oven. So I'm just putting it back into this bowl because I like the shape better. I'm just grabbing the parchment paper and making sure that the creases are taken out somewhat. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now once you're done with this phase, you're ready now to do the second rise, which is quicker. Normally you would wait about 2 to 3 hours. All right, so here I am 7 hours later. It was 2 hours on top of the fridge, 5 hours in the fridge because I had to leave and couldn't put it in the oven right away. I found that it was rising rapidly, so I wanted to slow it down a bit. So once this is all kind of ready here for the oven, then I'm going to put the lid on. And the Dutch oven is great for maintaining good moisture levels. So you start off 450 Fahrenheit, lid on, 10 minutes. Put it down to 425 Fahrenheit. Keep the lid on for another 10 minutes. And then take the lid off for an additional 20 minutes. And that is going to give you a very nice loaf of whole wheat sourdough bread.